Sensitivity towards disability. We will be talking about how insensitive people can be towards the disabled, me included. This video will help viewers learn how to be more sensitive and respectful towards people living with disabilities. People can be downright rude. We see it every day in traffic when someone gets cut off, or at a fast food restaurant when ordering food is wrong. Rudeness is pervasive, and the disabled community is an easy target. I have been the victim of some very insensitive comments related to my disability, like, "You're too young to be on a walker." No shit, I'm 31 years old. You think I want to be on a freaking walker? When I was on a date, someone flat out asked me, "What's wrong with your face?" The pain management doctor I once saw said, "Your pain is minor compared to your other conditions. You're not going to die from your pain." I responded, "That may be very true, but my pain has landed me in the emergency room on several occasions." Knowing that I could not be the only victim of disabled verbal assaults, I asked many Facebook friends and my disability support groups about this topic. I received over 400 responses to the question, "What is the most insensitive comment said about your disability?" Here are a few of the most appalling comments made to some of these disabled respondents. Somebody called me a gimp. I never heard that one before. Now, just for folks who don't know, a gimp is slang for a disabled person, particularly a disabled person who's lame. Another one, a doctor told someone that no one is going to help you get better. You have to help yourself. Another woman's ex told her that if she was so disabled, then why don't she just go live in a nursing home? Another person said, "You're wasting your degree by refusing to work and living on benefits." Another person was told that they were faking it and they had Munchausen's. Another woman was asked, "Does your vagina work?" Wonder how that, I don't even know about that one. That's what's all in my head. And you just have to get over it. It's all in my head. You just have to get over it. That's what another person experienced. How long are you going to hold on to that excuse? You don't look sick or disabled. Everyone hurts. You're no different. I hurt. I go to work. Why don't you? A former doctor told their patient, "If you just take longer, slower breaths, your pain will go away." A former boss told an employee that, "Is this really the job for you? Because you have a lot of sick days." A former colleague said to a person, "I know exactly what you're going through. My daughter is lactose intolerant." Somebody please tell me when lactose intolerant became a disability, for God's sakes. All you do is fart. Okay, anyways. A close friend even said, "I can't take being friends with a person who is sick. You are too much of a pain in the ass." Another person was told, "I wish I didn't have to work and I could do what I wanted to do all day just like you." And perhaps the most insulting experience conveyed on Facebook, when a woman was Christmas shopping, another woman walked up to her and said, "You are so lucky to be in a wheelchair. I have to walk around so much, so please have some sympathy for me because my feet are so sore and I wish I could sit down just like you." Really? Some people are assholes. Let's just put it out there. But when it comes to talking about disability, I think there's an additional dynamic. Living in a politically correct society, it is easier not to broach sensitive subjects rather than speaking about topics and possibly using the wrong vernacular and offending someone. That's the case when it comes to conversations about race or LGBTQ issues, and of course, disability. In the case of disability, people don't want to talk about it. And in a lot of cases, when facing a disabled person, people look at them with pity. And some people don't want to be in the center of a pity party among strangers that they weren't even invited to in the first place. Take it from me. But what it comes down to is a lack of understanding. In our last show, we talked about the definition and the types of disability. In this video, we will talk about how some disabled people are treated in society, but most importantly, how disabled people should be treated by others in society. In an insightful article written by Mary Ann McCall, named Should I Say Disabled Person or Person with Disability, she offers some helpful tips for able-bodied persons so they can talk and listen to a disabled person. Listen to how people talk about and refer to themselves. Consider people first language, which emphasizes putting the person first and the disability second. Our advice is to listen to how people talk about their disability themselves and then take your cue from them. Avoid euphemistic language. Language like differently abled or diversely abled suggests there's something wrong with talking honestly and candidly about disability. It might even suggest to some people that there is something shameful about disability, or that we can't talk about it directly unless we make it cute or pretty or funny. Avoid unnecessary emotional tone. This one really applies to me. Disability is a fact of life for over a quarter of Americans. Having a disability does not make you a hero, a saint, a victim, a burden, a soldier, a little fighter. This type of hyperbole gets in the way of having an authentic relationship with people with disabilities. These words suggest one-dimensional characters. Instead, think complex, interesting people, just like everyone else. Avoid handicap. The word handicap or handicapped is viewed as having a negative connotation, an implication that people with disabilities are disadvantaged in society, that social disadvantage is something we should fight against rather than merely accept and enshrine in language. Avoid calling non-disabled people normal. If non-disabled people are normal, then that means that disabled people are abnormal, right? Yet disability is the norm for some people. It is alienating and marginalizing to classify someone as abnormal. Should you refer to a person's disability? Is the disability a pertinent issue in the conversation you are having or the introduction you are making? You don't specify a person's gender, ethnicity, occupation, or many other personal details when introducing them. Disability is a condition of life, like those others. It will be salient in some conversations and not in others. Here are some do's and don'ts. Do look people with disability in the eye and address them courteously as you would anyone else. Do ask them if they can have any help and how you can help them. Do assume that people with disabilities have something to say and be prepared to listen. Do talk about disability. It is a fact of life for 26% of Americans. Do not ask the person, how they got the disability. Now, in more specific cases, when talking with someone who is blind or has a vision impairment, always identify yourself and others with you so they know who's around. Ask if the person requires assistance and listen for specific instructions. However, be prepared for your offer to be refused. If guiding a person, let them take your arm rather than taking theirs. Describe changes in the environment such as steps, obstacles, etc. If the person has a guide dog, please remember the dog is working and should not be patted, fed, or distracted. When talking to a person who is deaf or hard of hearing, look and speak directly to them, not just to the people accompanying them, including interpreters. Speak clearly and use normal tone of voice unless otherwise instructed by the person with the hearing impairment. If you do not understand what a person is saying, ask them to repeat or rephrase, or alternatively, offer them a pen and paper. When talking to someone with intellectual disability, the most important thing to remember is to treat each person as an individual. A person with an intellectual disability is just like everyone else. Treat them as you would like to be treated. Be considerate of the extra time it might take for a person with an intellectual disability to do or say something. Be patient and give your undivided attention, especially with someone who speaks slowly or with great effort. Be aware that a person with intellectual disability may be less aware of social cues and may have less developed social skills. When talking to people with physical disability, keep in mind that the common characteristic in physical disability is the same aspects of a person's physical functioning, usually either their mobility, dexterity, stamina. It's affected. People with physical disabilities are usually experts in their own needs and will understand the impact of their disability. Please consider the following. Always ask before offering assistance. Be at the same level when talking with the person. Never assume that a person with a disability also has intellectual disabilities. Ask permission before touching a person's wheelchair or mobility aid. Remember not to shy away from sparking a conversation with someone disabled. They are human and capable just like everyone else. I'll leave you with the following quotation by Mokokoma Mokonwama. The most upsetting thing about society's attitude towards disabled people is that many millions of disabled people become disabled while trying to please society, the very same bitch that secretly regards them as subhuman. Think about that. Be sure to tune in to our next episode where we'll discuss how optimism affects our health. We will have a very special guest. If you are enjoying this video, then join the family by subscribing to the channel and hit the notification bell. Also, join the MySoCalledDisabledLife Facebook page to join in lively discussions about disability. Thanks for tuning in.